Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey there, it's me, your old best friend and your ex. Why did I have to make it awkward like that? Honestly, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, and I don't even know if you even have my number saved anymore. I thought it a miracle that you don't even have my number blocked already. I just wanted to talk to you, since I haven't even heard from you in years. You haven't been returning my calls, and I understand that. I know I deserve it after what happened between us, but it still hurts. I don't even know if you're still listening. As far as I know, I maybe just talking to the void after you deleted this message. If you haven't done that already, thank you for hearing me out. Well, I guess to start off, how have you been? I know I'm talking to a voicemail machine right now, but I figure I could ask on the offhand chance you decide to return the call. It's been so long. I want to know how you've been doing these past few years. Life's been okay for me. I've been getting by in college and my grades have been alright. Problem is, adjusting to the college life has been hard. With the pandemic and all, high school is pretty much cut short. And with that, so are all my friendships. Alone with no hobbies to speak of, it feels like I've been put back in square one to before I met you. This isn't a half-assed way to ask you to take me back. I know it went last time, and the last thing I want to do is put you through that again. You have your life, and I have mine, and I won't do that to you. All I want to do with this call is just to explain what was going on in my head when all this was happening. No more excuses like before, I promise. I'm not going to justify anything either. I know what I did was horrible and wrong. All I want is for you to hear me out. I guess the best place to start is when we first started talking back in middle school. I know it's cliche, it all started when I was born trope, but it's still important. At this time, I was still going to church and just started out at the youth group there. Much like everyone else, I was the loner kid, the one that just sat there. Did what I had to, and got out when the little hand hit the 7. I never really was too religious. I could just never gather up the energy in order to really get into it. I kind of figured, why bother when I can't even get myself excited to do anything about it, you know? At least for a little while, though. That changed when I met you. I don't really remember the details, but I imagine you were the one who approached me. One thing was for sure, though, we sure hit it off quickly. I'd see you around, but never talked to you before because we never really had a chance before. But now that we could, we found out that we shared some of the same interests, like anime, manga, and all that other weeb stuff. And we also liked sharing our other interests with each other. Before we knew it, the rest was history. Every time we were together at the youth group or some church function or trip, we were always seeing each other, talking like no one else was around. You probably know so much. They shipped us at the church. We were pretty much inseparable, glued to the hip, some people may have even said. Even when you weren't there, I'd wait by the parking lot for a bit to see if I could spot the green car your parents would take you in. When you weren't, I was bored, basically just waiting for it to end. Without you, there was no point in going, especially since for a while, this was the only time I could see you during the week. All I could think about when I was there for you was you. Finally, I had someone to trust and confide in. Even with my deeper secrets, finally I had someone who would stay with me through thick and thin, no matter what. Finally, I had a best friend, and I didn't feel alone anymore. The time we shared as friends was a time that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I truly miss that, and I wish I didn't have to screw that up for both of us. I thought that we had an unbreakable bond, but I was the one who proved it wasn't. I always got asked when we get together by my family and the churchgoers, and I always vehemently denied it. So I don't really think of you that way for a long time. It wasn't until high school, when I got you a teddy bear as a souvenir from a convention, until I really sat down and thought over my feelings towards you. What I ended up realizing was that there aren't a lot of people that wait for someone to show up, even though there was no way of knowing whether they were gonna. There weren't a lot of people that give gifts like teddy bears to people they only consider friends. I realized that I didn't just think of you as a friend, but that I liked you. It took quite a long time for me to finally confess to you and to find out that you actually felt the same way, exhilaratingly. For a time, everything felt like bliss. Being in a relationship with my best friend I'd known for years felt like a dream. That bliss led me to my first two mistakes, though. I put too much stock in the relationship when it had just began and dropped the L-bomb and said I wished it could last forever, even before either of us were really ready. It was something that would have only led to disappointment and, honestly, broken promises. Yeah, and at first it was all sunshine and rainbows, but after a few months, I started noticing changes to how we interacted. The dates were always nice, but they often got so frequent that it almost felt less like us wanting to have a good time together, more like an obligation because we were dating. It felt a bit draining for me. I'm not going to blame you for that. Not in the least. We were young, of course. We were gonna get a bit overexcited. Just that I didn't have the maturity or money to continue on like we were. Not only that, but over time, the physical aspect seemed to disappear slowly as well. Physical affection has always been important to me, and we had a lot of it at the start. One of my favorite things to do with you was to cuddle with you, and we'd lay there for a while, just enjoying each other's company. We weren't even allowed to kiss before our prom. Parents, I tell you, always so protective. But when it finally happened, it really all just seemed a little awkward. When we tried to kiss again, it was as if neither of us enjoyed it, let alone knew what we were doing. Most of that spark we had before was fading, and it felt like I had to initiate all the contact from you, other than our cuddles. It almost felt like I was forcing all that on you, and I hated doing that. After a while, I had to ask myself, what were we doing? Where was that spark we had when we were still just friends? Why was it that everything seemed to be falling apart? Was it just a phase we had to work through? Or was it simply just not meant to be? Even after months of this, nothing was getting better, and our paths were going in different directions. I decided that things weren't going to work out, and we had to break up. I don't know how to break the news, though, so I led you on for far too long. Not only that, but I didn't even try to talk to you about what was wrong. And that was so selfish of me. When I finally decided to do it, everything about how I broke it to you was wrong. I asked some friends about it, and what they told me was just, quote, rip the band-aid off. So I did. But instead, I ended up ripping it off as painfully as possible. I ended up humiliating you, tearing your feelings apart, and throwing away any sliver of a chance of us being friends again. I saw how you were hurting, and I just kept going. I said some things I would never dare repeat. And honestly, I treated you like garbage. Just like that, I threw away the bond I treasured most of all. I called you because for all of it, I wanted to apologize. Everything I did to you was inexcusable. And I understand you wanting to just forget about me. I'm sorry, and I don't ever want to hurt you like that again. This isn't me trying to ask for forgiveness or even a callback. You were my best friend, someone that I should have treated with respect. Even at the worst of times, and I couldn't even do that. Even after everything I did, I still care about you, and above everything else, I just wanted you to know that. The point of this story was to tell you how much I valued your friendship. What I realized during our relationship was that I missed that time when we were still friends, when we just hung out and didn't worry so much about the little things. Some part of me wished that we had stayed that way, instead of the way it ended up. I honestly just missed when you were my best friend. I guess the whole point of all of this was to say that, despite everything, I never once stopped considering you my best friend. I want you to know that even if I never hear from you again, I still want to support you in whatever you're doing right now. I know that things can never be the same, but I still want to be there for you all the same. I promise you this will be the last call I make to you. Just know that I'll be here if you want to talk. Alright, I think that's about enough. If you're still listening to this, thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea what that means to me. Just know that no matter what, I will always be your friend. It's selfish, but a small part of me wants to think that just a little bit, you might feel the same. Bye.